is the first black member of Congress to serve from the state of Mississippi since Reconstruction days. He has been in Congress only a short while, has made himself a real authority on agriculture, and has begun to demonstrate great effectiveness, respected by all of his colleagues. And so, from the state of Mississippi, I present to introduce our keynote speaker, my colleague, Mike Espy.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm here tonight to introduce our keynote speaker, who will lay out the choices that this election presents. But first, let's pause and look back. It was 1964, another daughter of the South captured the attention of the nation with her stirring testimony about the pains and struggles of blacks in this country. Her name was Fannie Lou Hamer, a sharecropper and a Mississippi Freedom Democrat from the small town of Ruleville, Mississippi. Now, there may be some of you here who are too young to remember her. You need to know her. Her words at this convention 24 years ago, her struggle for poor blacks and poor whites, and her vision of a freer, braver, more prosperous America gave birth to the reforms that have made it possible for everyone to play a role in this party and for me to be able to stand here with you tonight. With tears streaming down her face, Ms. Hamer cried out at Atlantic City, "Is this America? Is this the land of the free? Is this the home of the brave?" My answer tonight, as I believe hers would be, is yes. This is the land of the free, and yes, this is the home of the brave, where we all work together to keep our country safe for our children, faithful to God, and filled with opportunities for all. Yes, because the hands that once picked cotton and the hands that baked bread and rocked cradles are now the hands of men and women who run for president and governor and Congress and mayor. These are the hands that create the great patchwork quilt that is our Democratic Party. Fannie Lou's appeal to the conscience of this nation is one of the reasons another daughter from the South will keynote this convention tonight, a convention that brings together, in the spirit of unity, a son of immigrants and a descendant of slaves. Fannie Lou was a prophet of freedom. Our speaker tonight can be aptly called a voice of the future, an eloquent voice who expresses the basic beliefs of our party and of our democracy. Her name is Ann Richards. She grew up in a poor family. Her parents said that she could be anything that she wanted to be, and she has proven them right. She can command a crowd. She doesn't mince words. She tells it just like it is. Her message transcends race and gender. Her message reaches out to our elderly, to our family farmers, and to our children. And even as she has climbed up the ladder of elective office, she has never looked down on the people that she serves. She is a unifier and a healer. But she's also a tough money manager. As treasurer of the state of Texas, she has balanced the books in the face of some tough times. And if you ask the folks from Texas, they'll tell you she has been tested. I predict that the name of this new woman of the South, this woman of Texas, will be added to the list of freedom-seeking, authentic heroes, men and women with no time for narrow thinking, no time for self-pity, no time for cowardice, having time only for courage, for charity, and for change. Wondering only about the future and how to bring everybody along together toward our new vision. Change is here, Fannie Lou, because it is a new Mississippi. It is a new South, Fannie Lou, where everyone shares hopes about our children and about our country. Fannie Lou often said in speeches back home, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." Well, Ann, Democrats all across this country are sick and tired of being sick and tired of a Republican Party that has written off the South. We're sick and tired of being sick and tired of a Republican Party with no vision of the common good. And so, Ann, after hearing you, and after this great Democratic convention, we will be energized and unified and strong and ready to work together to regain the White House in November. Tonight America is lucky. We're going to hear a new voice. We're going to get to know a rare and very special new political leader. America, meet Ann Richards.
Well, we've all seen the picture. The deep blue of the Texas night sky, a hint of starlight, and the orange glow of the campfire, and around it are the manly forms of the good old boys, doing what real he-men do, drinking beer and staring at nothing in particular.
She wasn't born funny, but she got funny pretty quick. That was so she could keep up with her daddy, the funniest pharmaceutical salesman in Lakeview, Texas, a great kidder. They were poor, but then most people were in Lakeview, so nobody really noticed. And the world of the 30s came in on the radio.
Pretty good, Johnny, but that ain't the way I heard it. Has a rendezvous with destiny.
The one thing her daddy never kidded about was his daughter's future. He told her she could be anything she wanted to be, and she never forgot it. When she was ready for high school, the family moved the 10 miles to Waco. Her determined mama wanted Ann to have a big city education. At Waco High, she turned out to be a first-class debater and found that she loved being center stage. And then on to Baylor on a scholarship, where she met a local political firebrand, Dave Richards. On their honeymoon, they put up campaign posters for Henry B. Gonzalez and a whole slew of Democrats. 25 years, 4 kids, and a bunch of canoe trips later, there was this opening on the Travis County Commission, and Ann got elected. She got the commission to serving people instead of just fixing bridges. And next, Treasurer of the state of Texas.
I, Ann Richards, do solemnly swear.
Ann took over an office that hadn't changed much since the days of the Alamo, and she changed it. She brought the place up to date, got the money managed right, and inside 4 years, the Treasury had earned $1 billion in interest. Her strength as a manager is part of her warmth as a person. And when you meet Ann Richards, you know you've connected with somebody. So one of these days, Ann Richards will say confidently to her granddaughter what her daddy said long ago to her: you can be anything you want to be. Ladies and gentlemen, Ann agreed to come here tonight to deliver the keynote address. And since her word is as good as her bond, here she is, Ann Richards.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Buenas noches, mis amigos. I'm delighted to be here with you this evening because after listening to George Bush all these years, I figured you needed to know what a real Texas accent sounds like. Years ago, Barbara Jordan, another Texas woman, Barbara made the keynote address to this convention, and 2 women in 160 years is about par for the course. But if you give us a chance, we can perform. After all, Ginger Rogers did everything that Fred Astaire did. She just did it backwards and in high heels. I want to announce to this nation that in a little more than 100 days, the Reagan, Meese, Deaver, Knopfziger, Poindexter, North, Weinberger, Watt, Gorsuch, Lavelle, Stockman, Haig, Bork, Noriega, George Bush will be over. You know, tonight I feel a little like I did when I played basketball in the 8th grade. I thought I looked real cute in my uniform. And then I heard a boy yell from the bleachers, "Make that basket, bird legs." And my greatest fear is that same guy is somewhere out there in the audience tonight. And he's going to cut me down to size. because where I grew up, there really wasn't much tolerance for self-importance, people who put on airs. I was born during the Depression in a little community just outside Waco, and I grew up listening to Franklin Roosevelt on the radio. Well, it was back then that I came to understand the small truths and the hardships that bind neighbors together. Those were real people with real problems, and they had real dreams about getting out of the Depression. I can remember summer nights when we'd put down what we called a Baptist pallet, and we listened to the grown-ups talk. I can still hear the sound of the dominoes clicking on the marble slab my daddy had found for a tabletop. I can still hear the laughter of the men telling jokes you weren't supposed to hear, talking about how big that old buck deer was, laughing about Mama putting Clorox in the well when the frog fell in. They talked about war and Washington and what this country needed. They talked straight talk, and it came from people who were living their lives as best they could. And that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to tell how the cow ate the cabbage. I got a letter last week from a young mother in Lorena, Texas, and I want to read part of it to you. She writes, "Our worries go from payday to payday, just like millions of others. And we have two fairly decent incomes, but I worry how I'm going to pay the rising car insurance and food. I pray my kids don't have a growth spurt from August to December so I don't have to buy new jeans. We buy clothes at the budget stores and we have them fray and fade and stretch in the first wash. We ponder and try to figure out how we're going to pay for college and braces and tennis shoes. We don't take vacations and we don't go out to eat. Please don't think me ungrateful. We have jobs and a nice place to live, and we're healthy. We're the people you see every day in the grocery stores. We obey the laws, we pay our taxes, we fly our flags on holidays, and we plod along trying to make it better for ourselves and our children and our parents. We aren't vocal anymore. I think maybe we're too tired. I believe that people like us are forgotten in America." Well, of course you believe you're forgotten, because you have been. This Republican administration treats us as if we were pieces of a puzzle that can't fit together. They've tried to put us into compartments and separate us from each other. Their political theory is divide and conquer. They've suggested time and time again that what is of interest to one group of Americans is not of interest to anyone else. We've been isolated. We've been lumped into that sad phraseology called special interests. They've told farmers that they were selfish, that they would drive up food prices if they asked the government to intervene on behalf of the family farm. And we watched farms go on the auction block while we bought food from foreign countries. Well, that's wrong. They told working mothers it's all their fault that families are falling apart because they had to go to work to keep their kids in jeans and tennis shoes and college, and they're wrong. They told American labor they were trying to ruin free enterprise by asking for 60 days notice of plant closings, and that's wrong. And they told the auto industry and the steel industry and the timber industry and the oil industry, companies being threatened by foreign products flooding this country, that you're protectionist if you think the government should enforce our trade laws, and that is wrong. When they belittle us for demanding clean air and clean water, for trying to save the oceans and the ozone layer, that's wrong. No wonder we feel isolated and confused. We want answers, and their answer is that something is wrong with you. Well, nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with you that you can't fix in November. We've been told that the interests of the South and the Southwest are not the same interests as the North and the Northeast. They pit one group against the other. They've divided this country. And in our isolation, we think government isn't going to help us. And we're alone in our feelings. We feel forgotten. Well, the fact is that we are not an isolated piece of their puzzle. We are one nation. We are the United States of America. Now, we Democrats believe that America is still the country of fair play, that we can come out of a small town or a poor neighborhood and have the same chance as anyone else, and it doesn't matter whether we are black or Hispanic or disabled or women. We believe that America is a country where small business owners must succeed because they are the bedrock, backbone of our economy. We believe that our kids deserve good daycare and public schools. We believe our kids deserve public schools where students can learn and teachers can teach. And we want to believe that our parents will have a good retirement, and that we will too. We Democrats believe that Social Security is a pact that cannot be broken. We want to believe that we can live out our lives without the terrible fear that an illness is going to bankrupt us and our children. We Democrats believe that America can overcome any problem, including the dreaded disease called AIDS. We believe that America is still a country where there is more to life than just a constant struggle for money. And we believe that America must have leaders who show us that our struggles amount to something and contribute to something larger, leaders who want us to be all that we can be. We want leaders like Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson is a leader and a teacher who can open our hearts and open our minds and stir our very souls. And he has taught us that we are as good as our capacity for caring about the drug problem, caring about crime, caring about education, and caring about each other. Now, in contrast, the greatest nation of the free world has had a leader for 8 straight years that has pretended that he cannot hear our questions over the noise of the helicopters. And we know he doesn't want to answer, but we have a lot of questions. And when we get our questions asked, or there is a leak or an investigation, the only answer we get is, I don't know, or I forgot. But you wouldn't accept that answer from your children. I wouldn't. Don't tell me you don't know or you forgot. We're not going to have the America that we want until we elect leaders who are going to tell the truth. Not most days, but every day. Leaders who don't forget what they don't want to remember. And for 8 straight years, George Bush hasn't displayed the slightest interest in anything we care about. And now that he's after a job that he can't get appointed to, he's like Columbus discovering America. He's found childcare. He's found education. Poor George. He can't help it.